Alright guys, here's my LePera Kickflip seat and my new Saddlemen Step Up seat. These are two very similar seats, but they have some pretty major differences. We're going to take a look at both of these, tell you which one I think is better. Alright everybody, what is up? What is up? As always, thanks for stopping by to another video today. Today we are talking two very similarly styled seats with my current LePera Kickflip seat and a new San Diego Customs Saddlemen Step Up seat that I just got. So of course, if you guys are familiar with the Step Up style seats, of course you can see here both my LePera Kickflip, the Saddlemen Step Up, very popular for the style and the look. Of course, you've got your main rider position here, the Step Up little back support in the back, and then the passenger section back here. These have become super popular kind of in the soft tail and dyna scene, even up into the touring scene lately too. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with the LePera Kickflip so far and why I'm going to go ahead and give the Saddlemen Step Up a chance and see how I like that. So if you guys are familiar with either of these style of seats, if you have done the LePera or the Saddlemen, drop it down in the comments. Let me know which ones you think are better. Let me know what type of seat you guys are rocking out there. Drop it down in the comments because I'm going to go through both of the seats. We're going to take a little bit of a look, kind of the style, the fit, the form, the function. Then we're also going to hop on the bike with the new Saddlemen and do a little comparison to the LePera Kickflip. So like I said, if you guys have any experience with either of these seats or different style step-up seats on your soft tails, touring, dyna, anything like that, drop it down there in the comments. Let me know. I'd be interested to hear anybody's feedback back there to see which one you guys like better. So first off, right off the bat, I went with the LePera Kickflip for my 2022 Softail Street Bob here because I've already got a Saddlemen Step Up on my Sportster. I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and try a different brand, see what they're all about here with the LePera. So I have liked the seat so far, I will say that. Very good fit and finish, very good quality, pretty good ride experience as well. So I really just chose it to kind of switch things up a little bit. But as time has gone on, I've had this thing for probably about 5,000 miles. There is a couple things that I have kind of noticed that I didn't particularly like so much. So with the LePera Kickflip, I'll go over a couple of those right now. One of them is kind of the fit onto the frame. It's a little loose. It doesn't necessarily fit super snug into the frame. I mean, it fits perfectly fine, but you can see it's a little loose here. It slides around a little bit when you're riding a little bit more aggressively. You're sliding around some. The next thing is it is a very firm seat, guys. I'm telling you, this thing is super firm. I've had it a little over 5,000 miles. I don't think it's broken in at all. It's had kind of the same firmness the whole entire time I've had it. And really the other thing I started to know about the Kickflip seat is the rider position is very wide here. It kind of bows out. So if you guys can see this, the rider saddle position kind of bows out. This kind of presses against your legs and pushes your legs out a little bit. So that was one thing. It started to put pressure on my legs on some of the longer days, longer trips and things like that. And that's when I started to kind of get a little curious. So one of my friends has the San Diego Customs Saddlemen Step Up that we're going to take a look here in just a second at. And I sat on it and I was like, wow, this is very comfortable, very soft. It allows you to get a very tight riding position to the frame. And I'll show you that in just a second. We'll do a comparison side by side of these two. But that's one of the couple things that I started to notice about the Kickflip that kind of got me exploring some other options. Now, don't get me wrong, I really do like the seat, but I really started to get a little bit curious about the Saddlemen seat. So here is the San Diego Customs Saddlemen Step Up. Again, of course, Saddlemen, great company, really good fit and finish. No questions there, no problems with any of that. And the way that I actually picked this up was I was kind of just browsing Facebook Marketplace. You know, I was kind of taking a look, curious if I could find a good deal. Found one for a pretty good deal online, talked him down just a little bit, got it for a good amount cheaper than new. The guy had never used it. He bought it for the wrong bike, so it was totally brand new, still in the packaging. So that's real quick, just a backstory how I picked up this particular one. And so before we throw the Saddlemen on, just take one last look at the LePera here. You're going to see similar lines, I'm assuming, with this. You're not going to see a whole lot of difference there, but just take one last look at the LePera there and we'll throw the Saddlemen on. But actually, you know what I wanted to do before we throw the Saddlemen on is I wanted to give you guys a side-by-side comparison of what I was referring to with the rider position here. So you can kind of see that the Saddlemen is going to give you that taper in where your legs are going to be. It's going to taper in so you can pull your knees in a little bit tighter to the frame, a little bit more comfortable, where the kickflip, you can see again, it bows out. It's going to kind of push your legs out. It's going to push you out away from the frame. So that's one of the things that I was really curious to see how it's going to play out once we hop on and ride this thing, how my inside of my thigh or hips kind of feel, where the knees feel with this thing on here tapering in. Also, I'm noticing right off the bat some of the comfort as far as the softness of this, already feeling a lot softer than this seat that's got 5,000 miles on it. So 0 miles on here. The rider position of the Saddlemen already feels a little bit more comfortable and more soft. Let's go ahead and throw this thing on. All right, guys, so as simple as that, we just threw the San Diego Customs Saddlemen Step Up on there. Some of the first things that I'm noting here is obviously you can see that gap right here went away. The Saddlemen comes all the way up to the tank. I really like this part here. Removes the gap that the kickflip had. The kickflip stopped like right about here, and we had a little gap. And you're also going to notice this thing fits a lot more snug and a lot more tight as well, where I showed you earlier the kickflip was sliding around a little bit. Super good fit and finish back here right into where we tie it into the fender, so all good with that so far. Again, the look is going to be pretty similar with that step-up style. I will say the Saddlemen seems to be a little bit more rounded. The lines of the kickflip were just a little bit sharper. This has a little bit more of a rounded feel right here. So again, if we kind of look at this thing from the top, you're going to see that taper come right in to where the LePera was bowed out like this. I'm really excited to see how this is going to feel with the knees and thigh position right here on the Saddlemen Step Up. Alrighty, guys, so I think that's everything as far as what we can do with this thing off the bike. The true test is coming up. We're going to hop on this thing and take it for a ride. So like I said, if you have any comparisons or any experience between these two seats or any of these different style of seats, please drop those comments down there. Let me know what you think between the two, and I'm going to give you my first impressions as we hop on here, a little back-to-back comparison, and let you know which one I think I'm going to like better. Alrighty, so we are on the bike now, and now I just want to go ahead and do a little comparison of what I'm noticing, first impressions between the two seats while actually riding. So took a quick little ride outside of the city, ended up in Media, stopped at Hannum's Harley Davidson for a minute just to stop in there, see what's going on, and look at some bikes and such. Been on the bike for about 30-40 minutes now. A lot of that was like getting out of the city and a little bit of highway, a little bit of back roads, so a little bit of everything with kind of the first impressions of the seat so far. So let me go ahead and start with some of the similarities first. So riding position is pretty similar. I would say that also the back that kind of comes up in the step up is kind of similar to like exact same height, kind of hits me at least anyways in the exact same position. So I would say those are two very close similarities. Other than that, I'm noticing quite a few differences. So right off the bat, I would say with like comfort and softness, this Saddlemen Step Up is much more comfortable. I would say right off the bat, it's a lot softer. Now it still has that firmness to where you're kind of like locked into a good riding position, but this saddle portion for the rider has a really good balance of kind of stiffness but some plush comfort as well, to where the LePera Kickflip is, or at least was, a lot more firm. I believe that is a foam saddle part right there for the rider on the LePera Kickflip. This on the Saddlemen, the San Diego Customs version, is very soft, but a good balance of soft and firm at the same time. So I kind of really like that. I think it's the gel core technology that's in this. Another thing I will say is the riding position is very similar, but it does kind of feel that this Saddlemen may not be as thick. It may not be sitting me up quite as high as the LePera Kickflip did. I'm noticing that I am sitting a little bit more down into the frame, I would say, and my hips are seeming to be like a little bit below my knees, where with the Kickflip my hips were almost in line with my knee to above the knee. So a lot of that's going to depend on rider height and individual riders obviously, but I would say this rider position here for the rider actually sits down a little bit lower than the LePera Kickflip, so that's probably one thing to take into consideration with this seat. Now The next thing that I will say that I'm really liking, if I touch on kind of a little bit of the comfort again with the softness of this Saddlemen seat and the rider spot right here up front, with it being a little bit softer, I'm noticing that it's eating up a little bit more of the bumps, more so than the firm LePera Kickflip did. So like I mentioned, I was getting out of town, and obviously you guys, I say it all the time, that those roads in the city are just trash, bumps, all this terrible stuff going on. I'm getting beat up in there sometimes. But riding over some of the same roads and some of the same stuff, I'm noticing that with this little bit softer saddle, it's eating some of that up. So that's really helping with some of the comfort and some of the handling, I would say, as well. It's just a little bit more comfort going over some of the bumps and everything. So that's one that I'm really liking, the Saddlemen over the Kickflip as of right now as well. So the next big thing, like I mentioned earlier, one of the things that I was really looking forward to having this Saddlemen for was kind of this taper in down here of the seat for the rider's position. It does that taper in where the LePera Kickflip kind of stayed a little bit wider, and like I mentioned, it was kind of pushing my legs out. If you see right here, I can really easily pull my legs in tight to the tank if I need to for a little bit better handling, and it's a lot more comfortable because it's not pressing on my legs, not pressing my thighs and legs out like the Kickflip was. And that's one of the big things that I was really hoping to accomplish with this new Saddlemen Step Up seat that I have here, was just kind of that comfort from the width of the LePera Kickflip, not having that anymore. Having the taper of this Saddlemen is something that I'm really liking so far. And with that being said, the other thing that I'm noticing too is it kind of helps with the handling a little bit. Being able to get like tighter into the bike, tighter into the tank, squeeze that with your legs a little bit. Now, I mean, I'm not saying I'm like definitely, you guys know I'm not a super aggressive, crazy rider or anything, but just when you need those moments to like tighten up to the bike a little bit, this is actually helping that, because that width of the Kickflip is not pushing my legs out. So that's another thing that I'm noticing here. The Saddlemen's allowing me to get closer and tighter to the bike, both with like my saddle position of my hips and with my knees as well. The interesting thing of the comparison of these two is, like I've mentioned, I had that Kickflip for over 6,000 miles, and I just don't know that it ever really broke in. I mean, I think it might just be kind of the firmness of their foam model that they have. I've only been on the Saddlemen now for like 30-40 miles, and it doesn't even feel like it needs to break in. That's one of the cool things that I'm really liking about this, is like you just hop on, and this San Diego Custom Saddlemen Step Up seat feels like it's already broken in. So maybe it'll be even more comfortable as we continue to actually get it broken in, because like I said, this guy, he never used it. He bought it for the wrong bike. So this is totally brand new that I'm on right now. I've heard a lot of people say the break-in period with these things can be a little bit lengthy, but I gotta be honest with you guys, the thing feels really good straight out of the box, brand new for me right now. Also, at some little higher speeds, I'm actually noticing more comfort as well, just a little bit more locked in to the seat, I would say. Maybe that's because of the diamond stitch material on this San Diego Custom Saddlemen Step Up. I had the basket weave variation of the Kickflip, and it was a little slippery, a little sliding around. This does, like I said, have the gripper material on the step up portion of this seat with the Saddlemen, but a little bit more like balanced and locked in, I would say, as far as comfort and handling at some of the higher speeds. So yeah, I think if I give my honest opinion, and I kind of hate to say it, it's nothing against LePera. This might just kind of be like personal preference, but I just really like, so far, this San Diego Customs Saddlemen Step Up seat from these first 30 to 40 miles. It's just hitting a lot more points for me that I think is making it better for me personally. The fit seems better. I like the look. The comfort is better. The way I can feel like I'm handling the bike a little bit differently. The position is good. Again, the comfort is a huge thing that I'm noticing a major difference on. So for me, I'm taking this Saddlemen Step Up over my LePera Kickflip. I think I got to give the nod and the go-ahead to this Saddlemen. Like I said, I feel bad saying that because I really did like the LePera Kickflip. It really just kind of came down to the firmness of that thing and never seeming to really break in. And again, the width of the rider position were the two things that kind of got me looking around for some different options, and then, you know, came across a good deal, like I said, on this San Diego Custom Saddlemen Step Up, and glad I pulled the trigger on it. I'm pretty confident this is going to be my seat moving forward. So to wrap this one up, again, two very similar seats, similar look, similar functionality, even a similar price point, but when it comes down to looks, fit, comfort, performance, all of those items, I'm giving the San Diego Custom Saddlemen Step Up the nod in all of those categories. I just got to go ahead and say that I think this one is better than the LePera Kickflip. So of course, if you guys have experiences with either of these seats, drop it down in the comments. Let me know which one you have, which one you like better. If you've tried both of them, again, let me know which one you like better. And if there's anything about either of these two seats now that I didn't mention or didn't address, go ahead and drop that question down in the comments. I'll go ahead and be sure to address that as best as I can. But that's going to wrap this one up for now. We are headed back into the city of Philadelphia from the suburbs. As always, if you like anything we got going on here, make sure you go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, make it a good one, guys. Ride safe out there. It's the Moto John. We'll see y'all on down the road. Peace.